Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We should be live. If everything works out. Welcome to the first live stream of the new live stream dedicated channel, Demanitized. Good evening. What a day. What a day. Good quality today. That's good to read, Cruise Up. Thanks. Yeah. Let me know your feedback. I'm trying my best here, of course, as well with as usual, with the Rode Video Mic Pro and with the lighting and everything. Let me know how everything works. Don't forget, please also, if you're at it already, please drop a like on the stream maybe, because then a couple more people are going to actually see that it's up. And then, okay, we can get some more people on the stream. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing fine. We're doing pretty well here in the south of Austria. It was a bit of a rainy day today, I must say. First some sun and then some rain, as it usually is, thunderstorms in the evening. And now it's a nice sunset, and we're gonna hang out. I can't promise that it's gonna be super long today because we've got special circumstances, to say the least. That the the last night was pretty intense because we actually got the child. We got the child. Okay, we got the child. Can you believe it? It was incredible. Incredible story, yeah. But so much for that. This is also why I had to postpone the first date, the first appointment that we had for this live stream, which was yesterday on Sunday. I had to postpone it because Mona was actually starting to do labor pretty intensely during that day, and obviously you want to, be available to help and everything, help the midwife and everything. So yeah, it was just amazing how everything worked out in the end. And I must say, wow, pretty amazing stuff. I can only recommend it. I can only recommend it so much, I should say. But that's what was going on yesterday. That's why we had to postpone. That's why we are at it now. And I think Mona is running around here, doing some stuff with the little one. And I'm gonna have to. I can spare, I think, 1, maybe 2 hours. Let's see. And hopefully we can get some interesting questions. Again, if you're joining the stream recently, drop the like. That would be awesome, so that people see the stream. I think let's start with answering some questions. Shall we? By the way, because she's busy today, Mona, we will have to try to do the timestamps by ourselves. I'm going to try my best to do that while streaming. It's going to be a new challenge. Marcel Bonvi asked the first question before the stream actually even started, and that was the one: hey Manny, any tips for a 204 centimeter and 100 kilogram climber to move well in overhangs? Thanks. Yeah, obviously you're gonna need body strength, right? You're gonna need body strength because you're gonna have a hell of a lot of leverage between those, 240. I mean, if you stretch your arms out, you're probably even longer than 200 centimeters, right? You're probably something at 250 or 260, even depending on your ape index. So, ich bin bei Minute 4, ziemlich genau. Oh wow, I think Mona gives it a shot and tries to take record of the timestamps anyway. So yeah, let's see how that works out. Yeah, but anyway, you're gonna need a hell of a lot of body strength because you have a hell of a lot of leverage, a hell of a lot of distance between your stretched out arm and your stretched out feet. So to be able to hold that without losing a feet in the overhangs, which is of course putting even more tension on your feet, right? You're gonna need some body strength for that. So this is a tip that I would have for you: train some body strength. And the way you do this, try the the things that I always do with the handstand ups, the Swiss handstands and everything. This is really good stuff for this kind of thing. I noticed the difference. The only exercise apart from actual climbing that I actually noticed on rock was this Swiss handstand thing. Okay, slowly going into the handstand. It really activates your lower spine, the muscles in your lower spine, and that's amazing. So there we have that. Cruise up. Sup Manny, sup Cruise up. You're really often on the stream, man. You're regularly on the stream. Thanks for joining again. I might miss some portion of the live stream today, but I'll definitely watch it later. I wanted to let you know by slightly changing my hangboard setup, I could make 10 to 16 second hangs. Amazing. Yeah, we talked about your setup last time, right? On the 20 millimeter edges, I had 2 hands this week. Yeah, nice. Which was not possible last time, as far as I remember. 2 seconds on the 15 millimeter edges, so I will see how this improves as well. Amazing. Good quality today. Yeah, thanks. We're trying our best here. So far, so good. Philip R asks, damn, chat is jumping down. Philip R. Is 6 days climbing in a row outside too much if it's in different disciplines, bouldering, lead, multi-pitch? No, not at all. I don't know. I think I climbed, my most times in a row climbed was something like 10 days or something, maybe even 11. And this was on a climbing trip. I remember back then in Leonidio, I think I did something crazy like 10 days on because the conditions were so good for such a long time. And as I've talked about previously, whether you're sending a project or not on a certain climbing day does not depend on whether you made a rest day before that day or not. Other factors are much more important. For example, nutrition, how well have you slept, the general environmental conditions, moisture, humidity, heat, and stuff like that. Okay, is it wet? This makes much more of a difference than whether you had a rest day or not. There's people saying they absolutely need a rest day before a climbing day, otherwise they can't perform. And then there's people who can't even make a rest day before a performance day, because otherwise the performance day will suck. Okay, and I was actually one of these people for a very long time myself as well. So I used to not climb project on days after resting days for some reason. I tried to explain that by one theory could be that when we load up on glycogen again on the rest day, because we're fueling up again, right? On the next day, right after that, we are significantly heavier, of course, because the glycogen pulls a lot of water into the body, some extra water weight. We're going to be 1-2 kilos heavier maybe. And if we don't burn that off with 10 attempts or something like that, when we need that kind of fuel, this is actually unnecessary fuel that we are carrying. Because let's say we do only 4 attempts in a super high-end project, well, then we don't need to have full glycogen stores, and we could spare a lot of weight that way, right? So, yeah, in terms of do you need a rest day to perform super good? No, not at all. I have sent super hard projects on the 5th, 6th, and 7th day on. Yeah. So this doesn't say anything at all. Much more depends on what you have eaten, how good is your conditioning strategy, how good is the conditions outdoors. This is much more important. So yeah, and you mentioned that it's even in different disciplines, then it's even less crucial, okay? Because you can, again, route climb on one day, boulder on another day. This doesn't overlap a lot. Cruise Up says, congrats, man. You're dead now. Yeah, thanks, man. It was an awesome experience. Darko now, congratulations. Thanks. Marcel Bonvi says, congratulations. Thanks. So you also congratulate Mona. She did a really amazing job, actually. She did the 99% of the work, I would say. Yeah, it was pretty intense. DM Dam asks, I get cramps quite easily while hooking. Possible fix? Interesting. Yeah. There's people who say it's lack of potassium. There's people who say it's lack of magnesium. Do we really know? We don't know your personal constitution and everything. Yeah, but you could have, of course, experiment around with those minerals. Should you supplement them? Probably not. Okay, I would try to get them in some sort of natural source. For example, potassium in bananas or something like that. The reason for that is that the minerals come congelated in their natural organic compounds, and that way the body has a much easier time to only take as much as it needs, and disregards the the rest that it doesn't need. Okay, with supplements, it's more like you're just bombarding your body with these atoms, with these molecules or whatever you're supplementing, and then the body is either forced to take them up or detoxes them right away because it's just too toxic for the body. Okay, so yeah, try to get them if you want to get them in any way of extra form, then get them naturally. Lykantrop says, ja geil, Manni. Herzlichen Glückwunsch euch beiden. Danke, Mann. Danke, Mann. Martin Tchaikovsky, congratulations. Thanks. Thank you for all the congrats. It's really appreciated. So did you end up helping with labor, says Mike K. I mean, yeah, I was there. But I could only help as much as you can help if you're the dude, right? I mean, you can be there and talk that she's doing a good job, which is something that is actually pretty important as far as I had the feeling. Hold their hand and try to give them as much courage as possible, because it's actually if you imagine it, it's a super challenging situation. I mean, imagine that you have to get a new human out of your body, and all the things that can happen and whatnot. You really have to trust in nature, and this is what is of course it's getting harder and harder in our modern days. The more we live in this very artificial world that we're living in. But yeah, I can only recommend to anybody who may go through the same experience and everything, have trust in nature. It's so valuable. Okay, trust in nature is so valuable. And usually this kind of trust will not be disappointed. Okay, you will get rewarded by nature by doing that. And nature is just, if you watch something like this, then you realize that nature is just amazing. Okay, the extent to which nature is fine-tuned is beyond our comprehension. This is why I always laugh at when people come up with, where is your science? Where is the science behind a certain way of eating or a certain way of doing exercise or whatnot? There's cause and effects which are so complex. Okay, there's so many little things. It's so nuanced, nature. We can't take up everything. We can't take up 100% of it, and it's just like this with this kind of thing. Okay, to try to boil it down to certain steps, and this is, then you do this, then you do this. No, it's always different. It's different for the person, it's different for the child, and for the mother and everything, for the circumstances. All that matters a lot, is it a calm environment and everything. And but what it boils down to is trust in nature and do your thing, okay? And then it's, then you have good chances, I would say. You have good chances. But yeah, it's a really interesting topic, man. I've been getting into that kind of stuff, obviously, during the recent times more and more, because it was affecting me so much personally, and it's interesting. It's a lot of very forgotten knowledge. You have if you get into that stuff, you have it appears like nowadays we are wandering in the dark when it comes to all these subjects, right? Because there's so much knowledge behind this, so much forgotten knowledge, and people nowadays just, okay, let's go to the hospital and get it done and then go back home. Trying to simplify this process and take away as much fear as possible from it. But actually you want that. You want the challenge. You want to have the trust in nature and get rewarded. Because then it just feels the most amazing for all the participants. I have the impression. Yeah, but enough of that for now. And let's move on to the next question. Darko Naumoski. There were some videos on fingerboarding. Latest one from Dave McLeod that he did fingerboard 6 days a week. Eric Hurst had an older video on doing maintenance fingerboarding routine every day. Fingerboarding every day or more than 3 times per week. What are your thoughts on this? First of all, I want to say that I've seen the video from Dave about his quick progress that he did when he went from, I think he called it from 8B plus to 9A in something like 18 months or something. That was his quick progression. And before that, he stalled out at 8B for a long time because he didn't fingerboard. There was a time when he also made another video, which I think he called "What is his climbing training secret?" And during this video, his climbing training secret video, he explained how, always challenging yourself and always doing different stuff is his climbing training secret. And then I made a video in response to that where I said, what's my climbing training secret? And that was basically finger strength divided by body weight. I hope we can still hear something. The little one is a little bit upset now. So yeah. Anyway, I did a response to that video where I explained that it's basically, for me, it's pretty simple stuff, finger strength divided by body weight. And now he came up with this video essentially saying that, okay, what in the end got him to 980 was simply brutally increasing his finger strength to a level from where he was able to all of a sudden red point 980 instead of 8B plus. And there's a huge difference. There's a huge difficulty gap between something like 8B, 8B plus, and 9A. That's just my personal opinion. But so yeah, here you can again see how crucial finger strength is in this sport, and any way to try to get around that is going to be fruitless. Okay, try to maximize your genetics as much as possible in that regard. Finger strength divided by body weight. Of course, we can influence body weight a lot easier, a lot quicker than finger strength, especially if we are already at our limit. And this is why, again, I've said so often that conditioning is very crucial as well. Yeah, because you can, with dry fasting or with fasting, even simple 1 meal a day routines, the late night evening run, things like these are gonna help you tremendously to work on the body weight end. Okay. And then, of course, we've got the training, the conditioning, targeted conditioning for finger strength on the finger strength end. And these are basically beyond a certain limit, beyond a certain difficulty. And, of course, this is for every climber different, depending on starting age and genetics. But beyond a certain difficulty, it's really just that simple. Increase your finger strength to body weight ratio. Fingerboarding every day, more than 3 times a week. For me, it sounded a lot that he did in terms of volume, but in the end, he broke it down in a couple of dead hangs or something, and that's basically it. And I think that was 10 minutes. He said something that it was not a lot of effort at all. To me, it sounded like a lot of effort, but I don't do personally more than 2 fingerboard sessions a week. If I can manage to get a third one in, then I did only very little other climbing during that week. And as I said previously, you want to have actually a lot of volume in what you want to get better at. So if that is sport climbing, you want to sport climb, and the fingerboarding is rather a supplementation, but it's a very useful supplementation. Yeah, not to take that away, but the priority is still the climbing itself or the bouldering. Okay, outdoor bouldering again is super useful when it comes to sport climbing performance. But for me personally, I would not recommend to do more than 2 sessions a week, because this way you can get real quality sessions in, and that's what counts in the end when it comes to hangboard sessions. Okay, you want to be able to go to your max, and if you do too many of them per week, then then you do them after a session to get them done, and then they are not really that high quality anymore. And the quality really matters in that kind of stuff. I have the impression. Davide, what's up, man? Congratulations, Manny. Have you ever thought of doing a collab with other YouTube channel? Talking nutrition with Dave McLeod, for example, or Lattice Test. Yeah, man, I would be up for anything like that. Do I actively reach out all the time to all the people and say, hey, that would be all? No, I'm not. I'm just not that kind of guy. Okay, if you are in my area and you drive by and we can do a session together or something like that, or vice versa, if I'm in their area and we could do a session together, then I might reach out, and then something might happen. I would be open for all of that kind of stuff, but I'm not actively, looking for these opportunities to collab and get more subscribers or stuff like that. Okay, I'm quite happy with where I am and the audience that I have. But doing a lattice test, for example, would be really interesting. And talking nutrition with Dave McLeod would be really interesting as well, because I know that he's a pretty strong proponent of the keto way, the keto diet, the ketogenic crew. And I have my doubts when it comes to this kind of way of eating, when it comes to climbing performance. I can very well imagine that the keto diet, for example, is feasible for people who do super endurance-y stuff, okay, like long runs, long bike rides, all that kind of stuff, triathlon, Ironman, and all that stuff. Because you're in endurance mode and it's a lot easier. I have the feeling that you burn fats in endurance mode compared to carbs when it comes to max strength. Okay, when you are at max strength intensity, you want to have carbohydrates in your body because they allow you to be more explosive, more quick. The keto crew will say, well, you just have to be keto adapted, then it's all no problem. I have not made the experience. I experimented with that kind of stuff myself as well, of course, but I didn't have an experience. Although I must say that I never did the keto thing for longer than 2.5 weeks. Okay, so it could be that something happens beyond those 2.5 weeks. Where all of a sudden, okay, your body is now super keto adapted and you're gonna utilize ketones and fats so much more efficiently, and then you can do the high intensity max stuff as well on keto. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm gonna conduct another nutritional experiment to find that out. If I should have gone just a little bit longer on the keto way, and then I would have yielded all the benefits all of a sudden, right? We're gonna find out. Why not? Lycanthrope, nice solution you found here for the live streams. Dude, I'm trying my best, man. Obviously, there's not a lot of, there's not so much engagement compared to the big channel because it's simply not, simply doesn't have not any way close near as much subscribers than the main channel. But that's cool. Someone wrote on the welcome video that it feels like a little small family here, and I agree. I really like it. This way, I can do my live streams, which is what I like to do anyway, and I don't must necessarily damage my main channel in that way. And I can tell you that's really annoying. If you put out consistently 3 videos per week. Admittedly, my last recent videos, they were not so much in terms of effort, okay? Simply because I was resting. We were preparing for this big event that happened now finally. We were just resting and building some stuff, and I made videos about that stuff, and I made a lot of talking videos, so these are not that much effort, I must admit. But anyway, if you do 3 a week, that's quite solid output. And to destroy that progress every time on the weekend again by putting a live stream out, which is something that you want to do as well, right? That's kind of frustrating. So I thought it would be a cool solution, and I think it worked out. I mean, at the moment we have a couple of viewers here. We have quite good questions here in the chat. The people seem to be nice. That's what I like. That's what the people that I want to do content for anyway. This is another thing, because I so often get these messages like, hey man, you could take this offering, you could do this collab, you should talk to this person, they know this and that, they know who and whatnot, in the social media kind of thing. If you want to grow on social media, it's a lot about collabing and knowing the right people simply, and being at the right spot at the right time and stuff like that. Okay, sometimes obviously you also have to be just a likable dude, a funny dude. You have to be entertaining. Okay, entertainment is very much important as usual. Entertainment gets clicks and views, but apart from that, you can of course also just collab. And people all the time tell me collab with this, collab with that. The thing is, I'm quite happy with where I am already. The people who watch my videos seem to enjoy them, and this is something that I really appreciate. I'm probably in I don't know. I have a side of mine which is really the entertainment guy as well, making jokes and all that kind of stuff, trying to be funny. But I think my stronger side is the informative value of videos, the educational value, if you want to call it like that, because what I do here is not really professional education or high-end academics for that matter, or anything like that, as you know. But I think the people that are interested in certain subjects can potentially get a lot out of my videos, and hopefully also a lot out of these live streams. And this is what I want to achieve. Not necessarily satisfy the mass audience, the masses out there. I want to bring interesting stuff to a couple of people out there who are really interested into certain subjects. Yeah, interested in improving their lives and just simply making everything as epic as possible. Yeah, there's a really interesting development. I mean, no development, not really. It was always like that, but when we take a look at entertainment, we could also see someone like PewDiePie, for example, who makes funny videos. And I watch PewDiePie videos myself from time to time because I just know that the dude is just funny. And I also know that he's got some really good editors, okay? So his videos are edited in a top-notch way, and they are edited in as funny way as possible. And this way, I always get laughs out of a PewDiePie video. But when a PewDiePie video is over, it's just gone. Okay, it was short pleasure. It was like a little sugar spike. Okay, when you eat a chocolate bar or something like that, like a little sugar spike, and then it's over. And you're not really thinking, oh wow, now I've learned this, I've learned that. This I can maybe apply to my strength gains or to my training cycle or whatever. You might learn from a video. And so I want to try to be the kind of guy when the video is over, then the people think, oh wow, it was a little bit tough now to stick through this 15-20 minute video or whatever we're talking about, but I learned something. I could learn something that I maybe can use for my own life and everything. So that's the kind of thing and I'm very well aware this is only suitable for a smaller audience. The little one is going crazy. By the way, it's a girl, so I shouldn't say maybe the little one all the time. It's a girl. I'm not gonna mention any names or anything, but I was told that I'm allowed to say that it's a girl. So yeah, now you know. We got quite off track here, huh? With this question. Lycanthrope is there again with another one. Nice solution you found. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Looking forward, okay, to more non-climbing topics as well. Yeah, let's start. Any thoughts about black metal? What music genre do you listen to? Ooh, the small one goes wild. Is everything okay? Should I help? You just tell me.
No, fine.
Okay. Any thoughts about black metal? First of all, I wanted to answer the what music genre do you listen to thing. Every time I get asked this question, I say pretty much I listen to good stuff. Okay, if it's good stuff, then I listen to it. Now the question is, well, what is good stuff, right? Obviously, that's subjective. What I find good stuff is for me good stuff, and that's what I listen to. But I have a couple of favorite songs really from almost all genres. I mean, what I absolutely detest is the modern pop kind of thing. But even if you take a look at the pop genre and you go back to the 90s, for example, I mean, there were good pop songs back in the 90s. And this is the time when I grew up. Okay, so I was born 1990. So I got to hear quite a couple of new pop songs during the 90s. And some of them, I mean, a lot of it was trash, don't get me wrong, but some of it was quite decent. Now there is a rapid decline going on with modern pop song industry or whatever you want to call it. A lot of this is really just propaganda. But I mean, first of all, it's there to make money, right? It's there to make money for the producers, and we don't have it really as an art form anymore. The music making. It's rather, how can you trick the minds of the masses into getting to really liking this song? Okay, there's gonna be a little location shift of the small one.
So no chapters.
Yeah, no chapters today, maybe, unless I write them down, and I'm already in a talking frenzy, so that's gonna be hard. But yeah, there was even some good pop songs there in the 90s back then, or let's say they were not just made for pleasing the masses. Yeah, today everything is just made for pleasing the masses because that's what's yielding them the greatest profit. And yeah. What music genre do you listen to? Yeah, everything that's. I even listen to black metal, some stuff. I listened to some Burzum stuff, some more melodic stuff. I must say, I'm really not much into this whole just being loud and making noise type of black metal. Okay, I just can't. I do understand, or I don't really understand, but I can imagine somehow that some people get really something out of that. I'm just personally not that kind of guy. Okay. So yeah, now you have my thoughts on the whole music thing. What do I listen to? I really like, for example, the guitar pieces of Andy McKee. What else do I like? I really like the more jazzy direction that's I don't know if you know Avishai Cohen, for example. Avishai Cohen, really cool trio. They made an album which was called Gently Disturbed. And there's 3 or 4 pieces on that song, on that album. Really good music. This is just simply really, really good music and performed in a very very good way. And this is something that I very appreciate. I appreciate, for example, classical music as well. If it's good, okay, not all classical music is good. When people hear classical music, they always think, oh, it's the high-end, elite kind of guy music, and you only the snobs enjoy it, and the elderly, or something like that. Maybe some people listen to classic because then they can feel a little bit better about themselves, that they listen to classic, that they are of a higher class than someone else who listens to pop music, for that matter, or I don't know. But there's bad classical music out there as well, just like there's good classical music, and there is even good pop music out there. It's just not existing nowadays anymore, just like there is not any good movies in the cinema anymore when it comes to popular big blockbusters, right? These things are designed to please the masses, and unfortunately I'm just not in that kind of audience as it seems. I don't know, but yeah, that's how it goes nowadays. Gonna maximize the profit. Can we expect any new guitar videos of you soon? Yes, I'm actually still practicing the Asturias thing, and recently I had a very good run actually with the Asturias thing, so I might try to record one Asturias in the near future, but let's see. Tar Nemeth, any tips on listening to your body or actually figuring out the optimal training to rest ratio? I find myself either resting or training too much. Interesting question. Something that I recently learned is that during a proper resting period, your body should actually become really, really soft. Okay. This is something that I didn't really ever experience, for example, back in the vegan days when I was a really high carb, low fat vegan, and I was training like at least 5 times a week. Okay, on 5 days out of the 7 days a week, I trained. Maximum I had 2 rest days or something. And even after a rest day, my body would feel kind of stiff. The muscles would still feel under tension. This is the kind of feel that you get after a training day, or even consecutive training days, right? And I had the impression now when I did longer rest. I mean, I'm resting in terms of climbing now for 1.5 months or something. Recently, I started doing the calisthenics again, but in terms of climbing, I rested for 1.5 months. And I had the experience at the beginning of this longer resting period. I was getting, the first 2 rest days, then I was getting softer. Then third, fourth, fifth rest day, I was getting tense again, was getting tight again. 6th, 7th, 8th rest day, I got soft again. Then I got tight again. Then I got soft again. And at some point, I just was only soft anymore. Okay, so this is how somehow the kind of training depth that we already put onto our body, but we haven't yet given it the opportunity to actually transform this kind of training into adaptation of the body, whatever that might look like: bigger muscles, stronger tendons, stronger joints. Okay, and only now, after really doing a consecutive rest of like 1-2 weeks, I could really, for the first time, again appreciate this feeling of being just really softened down. Okay, and just completely rested, no aches in the body, full mobility in all joints. Because when we are trained, when we're during a training cycle, everything is a little bit inflamed, everything is a little bit bigger than it probably should be, everything is a little bit more stiff. All the joints are a little bit more stiff, a little bit less range of motion. And when we're properly rested, then we should be soft, okay? We should have full range of motion and everything should feel really easy to perform, probably. And this is something that you can take as an orientation, whether you're actually properly rested or not. Yeah, so when you're asking me how to find the proper rest to training ratio, well, I would at least once per year do a rest where you get back to this state, where you get back to this super rested, soft kind of state. And this is also what's really good climbers out there, really pro climbers out there talk about. For example, Adam Onra, he talked about that I think he does at least 1-2 week rest per year, which is, I think, a very smart strategy, where it just focuses on something else, giving the body a chance to actually keep up with this crazy training load that he's doing. So this is something that I can do input here to this question. Obviously, it depends a lot on your age, right? And when you started, how adapted to the sport are you already, and all that kind of thing. But yeah, you're only properly rested, really rested and regenerated if you're properly soft in your body. Chat jumped down again. Mike K says, I hear you. I remember when my wife gave birth almost 4 years ago. Congrats, man. Cool. A moving experience. Thanks for getting a bit deeper into the topic than expected, but so much like you. Yeah, man, it's just a super interesting topic, man. It's a super interesting topic, and I feel like this is super neglected nowadays. And the more modern the society is that we go to, that we look at, the more neglected this kind of topic is. And that only reflects the desperate state, okay, in which these societies are, where birth rate is much lower than necessary to even uphold the population and everything, okay? Now, of course, the climate change dudes will say, yeah, it's a good thing because we're spending so many resources, right? We should stop with that. Ooh, depopulation. Well, if you get a little bit deeper into that stuff, it turns out that it's actually not so good, okay? And we can talk about that as well if you like. But that's a really deep topic, actually. And yeah, I think that this topic of giving birth and how reproduction works in general and how to find a partner and really basic things like that, which are really, really, really important to life quality. Okay, let me tell you that. Nothing can come close to this experience. Okay, nothing can replace it. Nothing is probably also so important for real happiness, okay, real deep happiness, for a reason, right? Nature wants us to procreate. Nature wants us to be here. It has a purpose for us here on this realm, on this planet, in this nature. So yeah, it's only natural that nature only allows us to be really fully happy if we went through this process, at least at some point in life. Of course, that's yeah, I know that there's people out there who can't have children and everything. So yeah, that's of course a special situation. Yeah, but to say, okay, I'm not having children because I'm such an academic and I know it's bad for the environment. I don't want to waste the resources and everything like that. I'm beyond that. Okay, beyond this thing. You cannot be beyond this thing. Okay, this thing literally is you. You're only here because for people before you, this actually was a thing, and it actually still is a thing for you, even though you might not know it until now. But it actually is a very important thing. And if you don't listen to these kind of instincts now, then you're gonna regret it a lot later on, especially if you had actually the chance, right? It's a different story if you can't have children for some reason. But yeah, very neglected topic, and this is clearly a symptom of the yeah, desperate state modern societies are in it now. David E, what kind of YouTube content do you watch? I must say, it's a good question. I must say it has nothing to do. It almost has nothing to do with climbing at all. I rarely ever watch a climbing video. The only climbing videos that I sometimes watch is some really cool uncut ascents from Mellow, the Mellow channel, which you probably, some of you know it, because they do really good uncut bouldering ascents, really strong crew, so they can afford it. And then I sometimes watch a Dave McLeod video because he talks about interesting things like conditioning and the training and everything, and nutrition as well. So and apart from that, this is all the climbing that I essentially watch. Apart from that, I watch a lot of nutrition related stuff because I feel like still nutrition is a highly interesting subject. Even after having done so many experiments on my own with my own body, like with fasting, the vegan thing, the animal product thing, okay, the raw animal product thing with raw animal fats and all that kind of stuff. So I did a lot of experimenting myself, obviously, but still to follow other people's experiments on YouTube here is very interesting for me, and that's what I do usually. I must say, recently I did not watch a lot of YouTube at all, okay, which is something that I can as well recommend for you, any one of you out there. Take a social media break from time to time, okay, because a lot of time is, I wouldn't say wasted, because time is wasted, okay? You know who said that? Is there any League of Legends players out there? I don't know, but time is wasted, okay, whatever you do. But you can really throw your time in the trash bin with social media really easily and really quickly. So you have to be careful how you spend your time on social media, right? So yeah, especially in the recent times, I did not watch so much stuff because I was focusing on the real life stuff, right? The interesting stuff in real life. But yeah, that's what I watch usually. Nutrition related content, some really edgy stuff as well. Okay, at some point I ended up in the whole flat earth thing when this was still a thing on YouTube. Interestingly enough, they forced a lot of content off of YouTube, which is flat earth related. I found it really interesting and fascinating how people could get into this belief that the earth is flat and everything. And the more I looked into it, I was understanding these people, because what they simply did was they were trying to explain something to themselves which they could not prove 100% themselves, right? This is actually not even that bad of a strategy nowadays, okay? If you cannot prove something 100% to yourself with your own senses, by using your own senses and instincts, then to go so far and still believe it, this is like a religious belief, okay, in this case. So to just believe that the Earth is a globe and everything because the media tells you, and the big NASA satellites, they are sending footage from above and everything. This is essentially believing something that you cannot sense with your own senses. What you sense is that the Earth is flat. Okay, this is something that when we step on a plane, we see a flat plane. When we step on a mountain, we see flat in all directions. So what we sense is that the Earth is flat. Now, of course, if you're already down this whole conspiracy theory rabbit hole, then you're much more acceptable to these kind of theories. Okay, that they have faked everything and they make us believe that the Earth is round because then we have a limited living space, and then it is so much easier to propose things like global warming, the saving of resources, depopulation, and all that kind of stuff, because our space is limited, right? Additionally, we are only such a small, tiny dot in this super huge universe, right? And this way, humanity becomes really insignificant. Putting that into perspective to some religions, for example, who say that humanity is the top of the iceberg, right? Humanity is amazing. This is again something that I've talked about in a little small video that I made quite some time ago. I think I termed it something like truth versus mindset. Okay, truth versus mindset. And essentially what I said in that video was that just because something is the truth does not necessarily mean that it's going to make the best human out of you. Sometimes we will have certain mindsets which are much more effective in making better individuals and making better humans out of us than the truth. Like, for example, let's say the truth is that the Earth is round. This is quite and limited, right? And there is limited living space, and that we are just this tiny little planet in the huge universe. This has pretty severe consequences on our way of living. We can say, okay, we know that the Earth is round already, right? We know that there's these continents, Africa, It at the same time could make us less adventurous, for example, because since we already know what's out there, we don't have to go there and check it for ourselves. We can just say, okay, the media told me what's there. I'm just gonna believe it. Not really the need to prove it to myself, right? And this is a dangerous mindset, actually. Okay, so it might be very well the case that you now know the truth, but it did not make a better human out of you. So certain mindsets, and to put it into contrast, let's say, okay, you believe that humanity is the greatest, and that there is, apart from that, there is only God, and this is what we should strive for. And then there is certain rules which they gave you, right? The certain living rules of this religion. Well, it depends on how this religion is laid out. If these rules are useful and good and designed in a practical way, in a way that makes better individuals out of the believers of this religion, then the religion is actually something good, right? Unfortunately, with the mass religions of today, this is not the case. Okay, far from it. So don't take that. Don't quote me on that. I am a proposer of any mass religions or anything, because I am actually not. But just to put it into perspective, okay, just because something is true doesn't necessarily mean that it's making the best out of you. And this is why you have to be careful with this kind of stuff. And to come back to the round earth versus flat earth thing, I could very well understand that for some people, the imagination that the world is actually flat and thereby limitless, okay, and that there is this ice wall around it maybe, and beyond that we don't know what there is, okay, we don't know it, how far it goes. This is a really attractive thought for a lot of people out there, for sure, because it's much more adventurous, it's much more interesting, okay, it leaves open so many more opportunities. But yeah, unfortunately, I proved to myself recently during the recent Greece trip that the Earth is actually round, or at least spherical, because I could see the curvature on the ocean. And this is also something, if you, by the way, want to check that out, I made a video about it, okay, so you can see that I did it in as kind of a addendum to another vlog that I did down there, because I didn't want to do a sole video on the topic of flat Earth versus round Earth thing, because it's absolutely not the topic of my channel. But I wanted to get this kind of content out because a lot of people are actually stuck in these kind of rabbit hole conspiracy theory mindset things. And yeah, to these people, I thought this could be something of interest. And I didn't want to term it like that because, again, for some reason, YouTube censored a lot of flat Earth content in recent times. Yeah. And probably the AI algorithm already has very big ears onto this conversation that we are having here right now already, because I said flat Earth so much. But anyway, really interesting topic. Truth versus mindset. It's not necessarily the truth that's going to make the best human out of you. It's the best mindset that counts. And if the mindset is, for example, to believe in polytheism, which is what we did for a very long time here in Europe until it was replaced by a monotheism, Christianity, and all the other stuff, this was something that actually still made very good humans out of us, I believe, personally. Okay, unfortunately, then it got replaced by a mass religion, and this is not only not fitting for our geographical area, but it's also not making the best versions of ourselves that we could potentially be. Yeah. So you have to view everything that's out there under these aspects. How much is this kind of mindset making me better? Is a flat Earth gonna make me more adventurous, or is a round Earth gonna make me more adventurous? Something along these lines. Really interesting stuff. We rambled a lot. These kind of conversations I like to have on this kind of channel, and we can do it because who cares? I think I'm gonna jump down in the chat now to see the conversations that are going on, because I've been rambling so much about some other stuff. Who knows what's going on here? Mao Fugi says, Dave McLeod is now more carnivore himself, and anyway, as he puts it, he's not specifically supporting any diet. Yeah, this is of course something that everybody says who does not want to lead his audience into something that's BS, right? Keto was just a part of his journey. Yeah, interesting. And this also a little bit goes into the direction of, is a carnivore actually in ketosis? And I would say it depends. Okay, it depends. Because this is also what I've been asking Dave all the time when he comments on my nutrition videos, which he does quite frequently, actually. I've been always asking him, hey, Dave, do you think that carnivores, or let's say keto people, okay, keto adapted people, do they, because they are supposedly keto adapted and have the same athletic performance than someone who uses carbohydrates? That's the claim, right? That's the claim. So are they working with carbs, in fact, as well, which they derive out of gluconeogenesis? Because, of course, you can eat a lot of protein on carnivore, respectively keto, and you can turn that protein into glucose via gluconeogenesis. And glucose you can actually even store in your body in the form of glycogen, right? And still these people, and as these people are apparently so well performing in even the explosive max strength sports, I would have to ask the question, well, where do they get these carbohydrates from? Do they work with carbs from gluconeogenesis, or do they really not work with carbs at all and work just with these so much increased efficiency of burning fats, respectively turning them into ketones and burn the ketones? Right. So really, what is it? Is this carnivore in ketosis, or is it just a dude who gets his carbs from gluconeogenesis? And if the latter is true, okay, if they get their carbs from gluconeogenesis, the question is quite justified to say, well, is it then really that bad to just simply eat the carbs directly? Okay, do you really have to eat all this protein, which you then turn into sugar, which you then store in the form of glycogen, when you just can simply eat a bowl of rice and you can eat the glucose directly and you can store it directly in the form of glycogen? Now, of course, you could argue that when you eat this protein in the form of meat or whatnot, it comes with a lot more micronutrients, it comes with a lot more calcium, minerals, whatever, and this way it is healthier. Yeah, but these are really interesting questions when it comes to keto or carnivore in the connection with athletic performance. And this is what I would like to talk about with Dave, what he thinks if he actually is in ketosis. Because if you mentioned that he's actually carnivore, there's a good chance that he's not even in ketosis. When I tried my quote unquote carnivore experiment, I was not in ketosis after some time because I was eating a quite considerable amount of protein. And if you do that on this diet, again, you're going to create some glucose via gluconeogenesis. And I did some testing with my keto sticks, with my stripes, and I did not detect any ketones on this kind of diet. Okay, now it could well be that my body got more efficient in holding back ketones, hence I was not urinating them out anymore. So this could have affected the outcome on the keto sticks, but could also just well be that I was in gluconeogenesis and I actually had carbs in my body, which I created from the protein I was eating. And then I can very well understand why these people have good, explosive athletic performance, because they are actually working with carbs, right? But they just do not eat them directly. So yeah, that's done as well. Mm-hmm. Elias Fubert says, hey Manny, when I climb outside, the more difficult routes like 7A to 7C are much more dusty and dirty than more easy routes. Do you have the same problem? Sometimes yes. Going on the hardest project of a crag can be a real chore, because there's a good chance that the first ascentist of this route did the route like 10 years ago, and since 10, 15 or whatever many years, nobody ever dared to even touch the route because it looks so formidable, and everybody's like, do you know, yeah, it was this super strong guy who climbed it. We don't have any chance on that anyway. And then the moss grows in, the tick marks disappear, it's getting wet and everything, and at some point the roots just look like a complete trash. The bolts are rusty and everything, and then it's becoming even more of a challenge to reclimb them, right? This is a problem that we sometimes have with the really hard routes, but not all the time. Not all the time, though. Sometimes, yes. Having some good conversations today. Someone does yoga lessons here. Interesting you mentioned that. My yoga lessons are down due to COVID, but I definitely hear you. Gentle stretching and antagonist plus general mobility helps a bunch. Could do more. Ed Cunningham says, congrats on a baby. Thanks, man. Do you think that you have reached your genetic limit? If so, how do you know? Or what grade do you think your genetic limit is? Sport and boulder. I would now be so bold and say my genetic limit is 9A, okay? Okay, no, that's actually a wrong statement, because the genetic limit, we have to assume that I had the ideal starting point, which is somewhere at 5 to 6 years old, probably, when it comes to climbing. So if I had started at 5 to 6 years old, my potential would probably be something along the lines of 9A plus or something. Yeah, maybe even harder, who knows. But I would go so far to say, yeah, 9A plus with my body type should be possible if you start super early and train super consequently and consistently and stay at it all of the time. In my case, though, since I only started at 17 years old, and I didn't really do a lot of outdoor climbing for a very long time. Started actually 3 years later, even with outdoor climbing. So at the age of around 20, 21, I would say that my limit is 9A. Yeah, my genetic limit now. And this is what I strongly feel already. It's just for me becoming so hard to move beyond this certain level of finger strength, which I have when I do proper outdoor bouldering combined with proper hangboarding at home. This is the recipe that I need for maximum finger strength in my case. And yeah, this kind of finger strength could potentially be combined with super low body weight enough for 9A. I, extrapolated from what I already have experience with, which is only 8C plus. And of this grade, I only have one root. But yeah, I was really fit when I sent this 8C plus, and I had the impression, okay, maybe a little bit more fitness is possible because I could still quite be significantly lighter than I was when I sent this first 8C plus. So yeah, it should be theoretically possible. But first we have to get back to this level of finger strength, and then we do the conditioning part, shred some weight off, and then we're gonna test it out simply. Bogdan Lazar says, I'm struggling to keep relationships while I'm trying to climb as much as I can. Any advice? Well, obviously, it would be really amazing if you had a climbing partner who is at the same time your girlfriend, right? For example, or respectively your boyfriend. I don't know if you're a girl or a boy. I made a video about climbing with your better half, okay? Which is another, from a social standpoint, is a really interesting challenge as well. There's so many climbing couples out there where I always think, oh man, come on. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, okay? But if you want to climb with your partner, who is your life partner as well, and maybe you already have kids, then it's another story again, obviously. But it has definitely some interesting components with regards to what projects you choose, how do you push the person, how do you motivate the person, when is the right point to let go, when is the right point to lower them down and not push them into the next fall, and all this kind of thing. I made a video about that. It's called How to Rock Climb with a Girl. It was kind of a bit of a catchy title, but I wanted to get the people on board who are interested in that kind of stuff, because it's actually a pretty cool topic. And if you can master this stuff, which I don't claim at all, okay, I don't claim to have mastered this kind of stuff, but if you can get close to this level, then it's gonna make climbing with your partner a lot more enjoyable and easy. And climbing is not going to be a thing that puts the relationship at risk, okay, which is actually a lot of times the case with a lot of climbing couples out there. Yeah. Often the interests are in the sport are not equal, okay. There is one person which is significantly more psyched, which is significantly more gifted as well, okay, in terms of genetics and everything, and who wants to push more than the other. And then the question is, how do you manage that, right? How do you manage that? And many more stuff. So yeah, interesting to think about this kind of stuff. Mike K says, on the music topic, you can check out the Dave Matthews Band. Lots of improvisation, jazz, rock, folk. They're huge in the US, but not so here in Europe. Exactly. I have not ever heard of them at all. Maybe I check it out. Yeah, thanks for the hint. Marcel Bonvi, what kind of routes do you search when you going for a trip, or you just climb whatever route is there? Most of the time, I just really climb whatever route is there. If there is a really iconic line that I want to try, then of course I just simply try it. Now I am fortunate enough to be at a level where I just can try almost everything, right? Because if you have the 8C plus limit, then in an area like Leonidio in Greece, for example, you can try just simply everything, because there is not even a 9A or 9A plus there. So this is of course pretty cool to have that ability to just simply check out any routes that you want, and eventually even having the chance to send it. That's of course pretty cool. Imagine being someone like Adam Ondra, who can go to Leonidio and try to on-site the hardest route there, probably succeed, and then move on to the next area, right? I mean, it's crazy that people are out there who have this kind of level. But yeah, in terms of how I pick the routes, I really like bouldery stuff. as I said previously, I'm not so much a fan of the big endurance stuff. I'm not a big fan of knee pads. I'm not a big fan of shaking endlessly in some joggy rests and everything. I just want to get to the point, when it comes to climbing. I want to get to the point. I want to just simply do some bouldery stuff. Essentially, that's what it boils down to. Because then you don't spend like 40 minutes on an attempt, okay? You just spend like 5 minutes on an attempt, and that's quick and spicy and a lot more efficient, I have the impression, than also a lot more healthy, by the way, because you're burning a lot less calories. You're not burning so much oxygen and oxidative waste products, free radicals through your body, compared to when you're on the way for 40 minutes and you're breathing heavily all the time. I don't feel that this is very healthy on the body. It's a lot better, I think, to just go for 1, 2, 3 hard moves in the boulder crux, which comes after 10 moves from the ground, and then maybe 5 more moves to the chain until it's over, and that's it. Amazing project, okay? That's an amazing project for me. Couple of hard clips in there. Wonderful. What do you want more, right? By the way, guys, if you're at it, you could drop a like on the stream if you did not do already, because then it's getting higher rated by the algorithm, and a lot more people could potentially see it. Thanks, that's appreciated. Corkipnoy says, bigger climber here, 170 centimeters, 83 kilograms. Wow. That's really a bigger climber, yeah? I'm afraid I do max hangs with added weight because I'm already big. Should I do minimum edge hang or max hang? I'm already trying to lose weight. Okay. No, there's no need to add weight to that anymore, I think. Okay. Actually, to be very honest with you, just simply go climb and do a lot more volume. Okay, just simply do a lot more volume. Shred the extra pounds off that you might have, because I think if you're 83 kilograms at 170, there might be some extra pounds on you that you could probably lose. You've said in the end, I'm already trying to lose weight. Yeah, the best way to do that is just simply increasing your volume. Okay, get more sessions in, try to make the sessions a little longer, get more boulders in or more routes, whatever you do. Yeah, depends on what you do. And this way, get your body into performance shape. Okay, get rid of the extra pounds that you're carrying, and then you can still worry about hangboarding. Yeah, I don't see a lot of purpose for a hangboard for now for you, especially seeing as you have quite a lot of bonus weight on you, and your this could be actually really injure your joints or your tendons when it comes to fingers and everything, and the elbows and shoulders, because they are not used to this stimulus. Okay, so maybe get a couple more meters in terms of volume. Hey Manny, what do you think about shoelaces for bouldering? Not really necessary. I like the better fit and not having the bulky Velcro straps when toe hooking. Yeah, but some models do cope with that quite well, with the Velcro strips and toe hooks. But it seems like I'm almost alone with this preference. Yes, you are. I can very much agree with you on that. You're probably alone in this preference. Well, I like the Velcros for bouldering a lot more myself, because usually, and I like the one strap Velcros. Okay, there's no need for 3 or 2. If you have a nice fit and a proper shoe, one Velcro is enough. Even a slipper, if it's well fit, well designed, and it fits your foot, then even a slipper is enough. Okay, there is not really a need for a Velcro even. But in terms of laces versus Velcro, I would only appreciate laces really on a route climbing shoe. And in fact, I am very happy also with Velcros, even on routes. I've climbed a lot of routes in the 510 teams, which just have one Velcro. So I don't really mind that they have this super perfect fit that sometimes a lasers can give you. Not all the time, because that depends as well on the shoe design and everything, how well it fits to your foot. Yeah, this kind of thing. Don't name it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the chat. We'll check the rest later. Keep up the interesting stuff, Manny. Yeah, I will try my best. Thanks for joining. Ed Cunningham. Okay, that was already answered. Offline says, I mean, I'm not you, but I have a feeling like you always talk down your abilities. By the way, I'm exactly as big as you in height. Okay. You think you're talking down? I'm talking down my abilities. I think not so much. I actually have the impression sometimes that people estimate me stronger than I actually am, okay, when it comes to climbing. Maybe that is because I have made so many uncut descent videos already that I have this whole plethora of a library of routes where I can go to and I can say, you see, I did this kind of stuff. You see, I did this kind of stuff. And this is, on a platform like YouTube, this looks really impressive, right? If you can show that you actually climbed the 8C plus, because I mean, filming your first 8C plus alone, that alone is not that easy, because you success obviously is not so certain, right? So you have to somehow anticipate when you're gonna send it, and you can only really do that if you have somewhat of control over the grade that we're talking about. So making an uncut descent video of something, especially a route, I have the impression, kind of really impresses the audience a lot, and it makes them think, wow, this is certainly not his limit grade, otherwise he couldn't do an uncut descent video of it or something. People overestimate my strength, man. Really, when it comes to finger strength, the strongest that I've ever been, well, strongest, there was 2 points in my climbing career where I was really, really strong in terms of finger strength divided by body weight, which is then the one go-to measuring factor, in my opinion, when it comes to climbing performance, the physical measuring factor at least. And that was, first of all, when I was sending my first 8B boulder back in the day in Merkenstein, what was it called? Jabberwocky. Jabberwocky was the boulder called. And Jabberwocky sit down start. And there I had dry fasted before this attempt. Yeah. So in terms of, again, finger strength to body weight ratio, I was super strong because I was very conditioned for this boulder, which has some super small and sharp crimps, which really get you wired when it comes to finger strength. And on top of that, I had fasted. So my, finger strength divided by body weight factor was very good. Now I did something similar with the first 8C plus route that I did. I did a lot of hangboarding, a lot of outdoor bouldering for conditioning myself for this route. And I also did a 1 meal a day regimen before the route. I've explained why I did that as well, why I did not go the dry fasting route for this project. But anyway, again, at the point of sending of this project, I was, again, really strong in terms of finger strength divided by body weight. And to put it into a measurable frame, I was able to do a one-armer with my stronger hand, with my right hand, on the middle Beastmaker edge, which I think is 23 millimeters big, okay? Middle Beastmaker edge from straight arm, one solid one-arm pull-up. This was the amount of finger strength that I had when I sent this first 8C plus project of mine, and now I'm certainly not as strong as I was back then. I'm certainly now not as strong as well as I was back then when I sent the first 8P boulder of mine. In fact, now I'm resting, so probably I I have a pretty low power at the moment. But yeah, out of a huge rest, there comes a huge plateau break, as they say, right? So we're gonna see how that develops. But anyway, I think most people overestimate my power, especially my physical power. My strength is not so much the physical aspects of climbing in general, because I don't have a very good morphology. If I would have a very good morphology for climbing, I would be a lot lighter, because I'm only 173 and I'm actually at a healthy weight of 67, 68 kilograms. You should have a body like 60 kilograms if you're 173, or even below that. If you're looking at some of the Japanese crew, I mean, these guys are crazy light, okay? These are paper planes, okay? Paper jets, you could say. Yeah, but they're just super small and super light. I am relatively small and not light at all for this height. So yeah, and in terms of finger strength, I'm also not in the genetically super gifted crowd, I would say. So a lot of people overestimate my strength, my physical strength. My actual strength, and I think the biggest factor why I was able to climb all these roots and do videos about them and everything is because I am very good at using my strength in a very efficient way, and I also nowadays at least have a very good idea about conditioning and how to anticipate whether you're able to send something or not, right? Kind of getting a feel for it, just simply getting the feel of whether you're having a good day or not, getting a feel of what you should eat, what you should not eat, what you should avoid if you want to have perfect conditions and all this kind of stuff. Super important stuff, okay? And this can get so much more out of your climbing abilities. And this takes place completely separated from all the physical stuff, okay? Which is amazing because then we can actually improve in something else, which is improvable when we are already maxed out when it comes to the physical stuff. Talked about that a lot before. So yeah. Mauro Fungi says, read Dave McLeod. As I discussed with him at the masterclass I had at his house back in February. Cool, you were at his house. He does not count calories nor carbs. He does not eat much carbs, but some, mostly carnivore. In a recent videos, he explained that after he is done with his university work, he will post videos to update on his own nutrition experiments and findings, probably in a couple of months. Okay, cool, interesting. I'm gonna try to check them out. Ooh, the chat jumps down again. I'm gonna read a couple of more recent questions again. Let's see. Wow, damn, my voice is already going down today, and I forgot to bring the glorious water receptacle today for fueling the live stream. Hi Manny, during times of intense training during the week and climbing on rock on the weekend, I usually wake up with stiff fingers and painful forearms. It usually gets better throughout the day. Yeah, this is just the training stiffness, man. This is the training stiffness. I've talked about that before. Is it a sign of overtraining or just normal muscle pain? I would say it's normal muscle pain. Again, if we are in a training state, in a training cycle, the body just naturally becomes more stiff, okay? And the tendons become stiffer, the muscles become more toned, okay? I don't know if it's the right word really, but they become more toned. And what I mean by that is they stay under tension all the time to some degree. This is what I said before. If you want to be sure that you're properly rested, really recovered, then you have to rest as long as you need to let your body become as soft as it can be again. Yeah. This is the rested state, the actually recovered state. And sometimes this even takes 2 weeks, okay? 2 weeks of not training, because you can, if you've built up a lot of depth, a lot of training depth already, your body can become stiff again after, let's say, 5 rest days, and then become soft again after 8 rest days, and then maybe stay soft, okay? So at some point, the body just stays soft and completely rested and recovered. But yeah, what you're describing really much sounds like training stiffness. Yeah. Guys, I'm just going to take a short break and get something to drink, okay? I'm going to get a glass of water. Let's see here. Connection in that. There we go. There we are again. Good old Paulana. That's good. That's better, at least. That's better. Let's see. Johannes, have you ever failed on a project knowing you are easily strong enough? And how did you send it in the end? A lot of routes, man. A lot of routes. And these are the most painful ones, really. The ones that you are losing attempts on because you just made a mistake, or you just were too stupid to simply execute the right beta, or whatever it is that you failed on. These are the most annoying ones. And again, this is why sending fast is such a... Eliminating these incidents is what is what sending fast is about. Sending second go, flashing, on-sighting, and this kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, of course, I had a lot of these projects. What really helps in the end is sometimes you might even need a bit of distance from the project, right? You go try something else, because at some point they really get into your head and they mess with your psyche. I'm a climber who is usually not very skeptical to this kind of stuff, but I know there's people out there who really are. And I think for these people, it would be better to just simply try something else for some time and, get a clear mind again and everything. Yeah. Ishan says, do you think it's possible to reach your max grade at such a young age, 10 to 18? Interesting question. You know what? I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of climbers out there who actually maxed out in terms of their physical abilities when they were 18 or 20 for that matter. Yeah, because a lot of guys, for a lot of guys, it's actually true that in their 20s they become a lot bigger, more muscular. Okay, this is because at some point testosterone sets in and you just become a man. Okay, you turn from this small little stick figure boy into a man. And for climbing, this is not very useful. It's not very practical, okay? Because you're gonna be a lot bigger, you're gonna be a lot heavier, and being small and thin, and still having the finger strength, but having also the small fingers at the same time to get into the small pockets and everything, is super useful. So it's a little bit of it's kind of this ballet syndrome, I would call it, which is very true for climbing as well, that we have very super strong young guns which use the advantage of a still very light body combined with very high flexibility, of course, and very high explosiveness, super much strength. Not as much strength maybe as they could have when they are 30, but when they are 30, they are also a lot heavier. And this more heaviness turns out to be more significant than the more strength that they have, okay? With climbing, this just seems to be the case. So that I am pretty sure that a lot of the really strong guys were actually really strong already when they were 18. But what they did not have when they were 18 was the experience, okay? The ability to read routes, the ability to on-site. And climbing has a huge experience factor as well. Your performance not only is coming from physical abilities, right? Comes also from a huge plethora of mental abilities, and then there is also the experience factor. And with 30, somewhere along the lines of 30, I have the impression that this is the time point on average where all the things come together in a more or less most ideal way. Okay, you already have quite a lot of experience. If you started early enough, okay? Or of course, because if you started at 5, when you're 30, you did this sport for freaking 25 years, okay? I mean, I did the sport for 11 years, more than double as much time that I did now. And I'm almost 30 myself now, just to put that into perspective. But anyway, you did the sport already for 25 years, so you have significant loads of experience. You have your maximum strength. You don't have the ideal body anymore because you're already a man and you are quite muscular already. You're not a stick figure anymore, probably. But it doesn't matter. You have the experience to power that stuff off. Yeah. So, at 30, I have the experience there. It comes together in the most ideal way. But I'm certain that some climbers out there already peak at 18 or even at 15, maybe. Yeah. Some peak at 25. Maybe a more, I think most on average peak at 30. This is the experience that I made. So let's see, do we have any interesting questions here as well? Part Burgstaller says, "Hi Manny, can you go more in detail how the no toothpaste thing with your diet works? And do you use soap for hand washing?" No, I don't use toothpaste. I don't use soap. I haven't used toothpaste since, I don't know, maybe 5 years or something. I haven't used shampoo for hair for maybe 15 years or something. And I'm not using shampoo for the same time, not anymore, since 15 years or something. The truth is that, okay, let's maybe start with the toothpaste thing. Right away, I can tell you it's a super deep topic, but when a human being is on its natural diet, we can talk about in a second what that actually is. When it's on its natural diet, there's no need for any sort of teeth cleaning whatsoever, not even brushing. Okay, not even brushing. I do brush my teeth still, but I don't use toothpaste because I feel it's completely unnecessary and useless, and actually damages more than it's actually helping. But of course, it makes money, right? It's profitable. Dentists are, in general, super profitable. But yeah, tooth health, to say that tooth health depends on brushing your teeth and depends on which toothpaste you're using is a complete scam. Okay, this is a complete money-making scam. What your toothpaste is much more dependent on is your diet, your nutrition, what you eat. And obviously, I mean, we know this for centuries, probably not for centuries because carbs are not around for centuries. They are, but not in the modern Western civilized style where they are just super abundant and everywhere. But carbohydrates are not very good for the teeth. Okay, for some reasons. First of all, that the blood sugar spikes that you get with carbs, they require the body to leach minerals out of its tissues to balance these spikes out chemically, because your body needs to keep your blood at a very constant functional, there's a very small functional window of your blood in terms of pH, in terms of salinity, in terms of the kind of ions that are floating around there. It's a very small functional window, and if you hit it with a blood sugar spike, it is said that this is at least what I've read in some books and stuff. It is said that it's actually required from the body, for example, to leach calcium into the bloodstream to buffer this kind of spike out. Now, this in itself isn't really a problem, because if you have the blood sugar spike for a short time and the calcium spike for a short time, then you get the sugar into your cells with insulin, you can get the calcium back into the bones, right? Now, the problem is that maybe you took a piss. Maybe you took a piss during this blood sugar spike. And during that piss, it seems to be the case that of course, the kidneys are always filtering. Okay, so you could as well say that during the blood sugar spike, as the kidneys are filtering, they're filtering out calcium as well, and you're going to piss a little bit of calcium out. So blood sugar spikes repeatedly cost you over time calcium, and it's going to increase the net loss of your body of calcium if you don't replenish it, at least with some sort of very calcium-rich and easily absorbable food, like, for example, raw milk products, right? Raw milk cheeses and all that kind of thing. But it's another subject. So this is one mechanism how carbs cause the teeth to erode. And you have to realize, I mean, the teeth are the most calcified structures in the whole human body. Okay, the enamel of the teeth is the hardest substance in our body. It's super calcified, and it is sticking out of the body. Okay, it is sticking out of the body, which is necessary because we have to use them for mastication, right? They are sticking out of the body, and by this, the supply of these structures with nutrients is even harder. So not only do we have to have a lot of calcium in these structures, but we also have a super small area from which we can actually supply calcium. And so by looking at this, it only makes sense that the first bones that are attacked if the calcium supply is suboptimal are the teeth. Okay? Problems in calcium metabolism always appear at the teeth first. So I don't know if there's, for example, any osteoporosis patient out there who not also already has teeth transplants and fillings and that kind of stuff, because the teeth get attacked first. Yeah. Another mechanism how the teeth get attacked, if you eat, for example, a lot of starch, yeah, starches have what's the I always forget this word. Anyway, they have the effect that the blood sugar stays up for longer. And what actually happens then is that the bacteria in your mouth start to draw blood sugar from these fine blood vessels that are surrounding your teeth and everything in the mucous membranes and everything. They draw blood sugar into your buccal cavity, into your mouth cavity, and there, because it's a closed cavity, ideally, if you sleep at night, there is no oxygen there, they start to ferment that kind of stuff, okay, into lactic acid. These are lactic acid bacteria, and this lactic acid will build up and build up and build up, and the pH in your mouth is getting lower and lower and lower, more and more acidic. And of course, then at some point, it starts to erode your enamel. And then you wake up during the night and you have a super sour mouth. The first thing you do is you grab a glass of water and drink and floss it through and swallow that stuff or even spit it out. But then you lose this kind of calcium that you already dissolved out of your teeth, essentially by feeding these lactic acid bacteria with a continuously high blood sugar level. This is something that I noticed myself, for example, very significantly during my high carb vegan days. I would always wake up in the night to, first of all, take a piss. I've explained why this is actually occurring, because you need a lot of water to digest complex carbs. Then you build them up again in your body and you lose the water again. The water is just a vessel to get these carbs into your body, essentially, and you have to piss it out later on in the night. This is one thing, but the carbs, of course, cause a continuously high blood sugar level because they slowly get digested in your digestive tract. And this continuously high blood sugar level goes into your mouth cavity, feeds lactic acid bacteria. It's not like the carbs stick on the top of your teeth, right? The starch that you ate, which would speak for the brushing thing, right? You brush your teeth, and that way you get the carbs off, right? So you don't have the acid mouth problem in the night. Wrong. You still have the acid mouth problem, even if you brush the carbs off, because these bacteria simply draw the sugar from the surrounding mucous membranes. And this is, by the way, I think the same problem that a lot of females, for example, have with bladder infections. Bladder infections among the females are much more common than among males because this cavity down there is just much more prone to infection by lactic acid bacteria. And if they have constantly high blood sugar, again, these lactic acid bacteria pull the sugar into the cavity, and there, because there is an absence of oxygen, they ferment it into lactic acid. Lactic acid is sour. It's gonna create a little bit of inflammation with the surrounding tissues. It's gonna give you problems. You're gonna get an infection like that. Okay, so this is essentially the two main ways how carbs cause the eroding of teeth. With first of all, it's leaching calcium because of the blood sugar spikes, and then we have the acidity, which is created by lactic acid bacteria. Apart from that, we also have the acidity from fruits, for example, which is also eroding the teeth on a frugivore diet, for example, okay, on a fruitarian diet, for that matter. Not only that, but you also get very little calcium on a fruitarian diet, which is another factor why your teeth erode. So these are things that you should avoid, okay, if you want to have good teeth. What you can eat, for example, what you can try is raw milk products. Raw milk products are amazing for calcium supply. And if you eat only raw milk products, for example, one day, combined with even maybe the one or the other piece of raw meat, you will notice that these are actually teeth cleaning substances. Okay, these are teeth cleaning substances. Hey, if you ever have eaten a piece of raw meat, like for example steak tartare, or nothing too much processed, okay, but a simple piece of raw steak, maybe, if you tried that, you will find that your teeth are significantly cleaner afterwards. For some reason, these things act as a teeth cleaning substance, okay, and they don't spike your blood sugar too much. They don't cause leaching of calcium into the arteries and everything like that, into the soft tissues. These actually just provide the teeth with nutrients, and they don't cost them any nutrients. And if you combine that with something like raw milk, which has the calcium, it is said that for a proper bone structure, you need two things mainly, and that is calcium and phosphate. These are the main structural elements of bones. And in something like enamel, it's a lot more calcium than phosphate, but it's in something like a normal tube bone, I think it's very much phosphate, actually. But yeah, these things, they don't cost you any teeth. You don't need to brush your teeth then, okay? You don't even feel the need that there is some sort of sticky stuff on the teeth, which you usually have after carb meals. And look at it yourself, okay? If you're eating a high carb meal, you finish the meal, then you go to the bathroom instantly, you brush your teeth, then you have clean teeth, right? But look at it, 1 hour later, you're gonna have this strange film of bacteria again on your teeth. So what's going on there? These bacteria proliferate because they draw sugar from your blood sugar, which is still high. Doesn't matter whether you brush your teeth or not, and then they ferment it, okay? And this way they grow, and then they ferment even more, and then it's getting really sour in your mouth, and then you erode your teeth. So these are the main mechanisms of teeth erosion. You can very simply fix them with diet, and you can even, for example, halt cavities which are getting bigger and bigger that way, okay? You cannot build up new tooth again. This is simply not possible if the tooth structure is already lost, but you can stop the continuous eroding of your teeth, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so much about tooth health, man. It's a really interesting subject, and the fact that not a lot of people know about this is super crucial to the whole of dentistry, because otherwise they would be useless. Okay, so here again, and the fact that dentistry would never make these recommendations that I'm giving you now. Okay, I mean, maybe they would say, okay, maybe you should eat less sugar candy or whatnot. Yeah, sugar candy causes little blood sugar spikes, and that causes leaching of calcium, as we've discussed before. But they will never tell you that, for example, something like rice or potatoes is giving you a sour mouth, and that way you're eroding your teeth. Or that you could actually eat something like raw meat and raw milk products, which have excellent nutrients for teeth building and everything like that, because it's just not mainstream, right? This is not mainstream. This is super off the charts, especially raw stuff, because then the medical science, the medical industry will instantly say, ooh, there's bad bacteria in there. You have to be careful that you get infected, blah, 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 blah. All this nonsense, okay? So, yeah, of course, the profitability of dentistry and everything depends on this misinformation, essentially, or depends on the fact that not a lot of people know this. But try it out yourself, I would say. You learn only by your own experience. So yeah, really try it out yourself. So let's see where we are. Thanasis Chailas. I think this is the most recent question, huh? Or is there more live chat? I think I'm down. Hi, Manny. Congrats for the baby. Thanks, man. Thanks. Here in Spain, we have sport routes for 10 lives. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes think that this will be unsustainable at some point, at some moment, and people keep bolting. What do you think on that? Yeah, that's a big problem, actually. You know, bolting, like anything else, is now a business. People are trying to make money by bolting new areas and creating a climbing guidebook out of that, and trying to create a customer base of this climbing area who buys the climbing guidebook, and all the other supports the local climbing stores and everything which are there. Yeah, it's questionable whether that's a good thing or not. I would say, as the outdoor climbing community is not growing so super quickly, it is growing definitely because the indoor climbing community is growing super quickly, and some of the indoor guys also go outdoors. Um, as this community is growing, we're gonna see more and more of that stuff. Obviously, do I like it? Yeah, in the end, it's going to be more people in nature, and this is principally a good thing. Although, yeah, I'm also very aware that a lot of trash is going to be left where no trash should be left. It's going to be also a problem for, with maybe you have some certain wildlife that is there, or the, nature park which is protected and all that kind of stuff. And there's already so many problems in this regard when it comes to the climbing population that yeah, it's going to be interesting. And in fact, with the whole virus thing that we had now, a lot of climbing areas actually took the opportunity and announced that they now close down this climbing area, this or that climbing area, right? Although that's not really for me, a common sense thing to do, because there's people outdoors which are probably already all healthy anyway, and then they are exercising outdoors, not really meeting anyone who is elderly, for example, who is at risk. So there's not really the chance that someone gets so super heavily infected that they die or anything. But yeah, that's another story. But anyway, a lot of areas actually took the opportunity and said, okay, now we close down this area. And this really reflects how pissed off some of these areas already are because of the continuous climbing tourism that goes there. And let's face it, as climbers, we're cheap cunts, okay? A lot of us are cheap cunts. We sleep in our vans. We don't leave a lot of money there. We just go into the supermarkets, buy super cheap food, rice and vegetables, and that's what we cook each day on our gas cookers, okay, in our camper vans. So that's the climbing population that we're looking at. So this is not really a super profitable kind of tourism for a lot of areas. So it's a problem. It's a problem. We are not so welcome anymore. Let's put it like that in some of the areas, and rightfully so. Yeah. So because we leave trash, we leave crap. Yeah. I mean, some of these areas are literally toilets. If the local authorities did not spend the effort to put a toilet there or anything like that, and even if they did, a lot of people go into the wild anyway. And I think this is not even, to give you my opinion on that as well, it's not even such a big problem to just leave some crap in the wild if you simply bury it and take the paper with you, okay? So I can give you this tip out there right away. You simply bury that stuff and you take the paper with you, because what you actually see still after a week is the freaking paper. The rest you won't see anymore. And it doesn't really bother anyone. It's nature. It's natural. It's just gonna decay. Just like pee, you can pee everywhere. The whole in Austria we have a saying: "Die Welt is a hassle." Okay, die Welt is a hassle. Die ganze Welt is a hassle. You can go to pee anywhere. Essentially, that means everywhere where there's a lawn. Of course, with a bigger dump, this is not the case. But even in that case, if you bury it and then you take the paper with you, there's a lot of tolerance for this kind of stuff. Problems arise if you leave the paper, because then it becomes quite clear that this small little nice looking patch of forest is in fact the local toilet of the climbing crew that's climbing on this nearby crag there. Okay, when there's heaps of paper in there. So that's why you take the freaking paper with you. Okay. Yeah, just a couple of thoughts on that subject. Simon Kiefer says, have you ever thought of doing a podcast? Well, this is my form of podcast, I would say. This is my form of podcast. I really like this format, I must say. Really like it. Ed Cunningham says, how much weight can you hang on a Beastmaker 2000 lower middle edge and two-handed on the small crimps? What do you think your genetic limits for bouldering? You could find 9As and above where crux is below V10. Yeah, true. How much weight can I hang on the the middle Beastmaker 2000 lower edge? I can hang my body weight essentially, which is 67 kilograms. At my peak performance, I was able to do a one armor on this kind of edge. Yeah. So much for that. When it comes to the small edges, one-handed, I can't hang them at all. And two-handed, I think I could actually slap on quite a lot of bonus weight, although I haven't tried recently, so I don't really know. You could find 9As and above where crux is below V10. That's true. I think there is 9As where the easiest boulder is maybe 7B plus or something like that, 7C. Yeah, really endurance-y stuff where the endurance crux, the bouldery crux is really engulfed by a huge power endurance section, for example. Wie geht's euch? Alles gut?
Ja.
Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Everything is going fine. Yeah, guys, I think I must say we had a good stream, huh? We had a good stream. Some interesting topics. Paul Burgstaller says, and your opinion on chalk? Is Friction Labs worth the money, and which one do you use? No, it's not worth the money. I use black diamond, white gold, the blocks, okay? Because that's, in my experience, by far the best value for money. I don't find the super chat on the phone, but going to join the tribe anyway. Keep it up. Oh, that's appreciated, man. That's appreciated. Thanks. I use the as I said, black diamond, white gold. You can also get these in these packets, but the packets are much less value for money. The most value for money you get by buying the blocks, and you can get it even in these 8 block cases. And one of these things actually lasts me for half a year of climbing. Yeah, so it's really good value for money. And I think one of these packs costs, one block is I think €1.70 or something like that. So times 8, that's around 13 euros, 14 euros. So 14 euros of chalk for half a year of climbing. I think that's really good value for money. And the chalk is quite good. You can break it down into as many small pieces as you like. I personally like bigger pieces, so that's amazing as well, because in the packets I always get this mealy stuff, which is not good, you know, and which you use it off super quickly. Yeah. So much in terms of chalk. All right, guys. I think my voice is already going down, my friends, and I've got some girls here actually, which could use my attention. I think we're gonna keep it short for this stream. 1 hour and 47 minutes. I must say, to be honest with you, I did not keep track of the topics. I might try to put down rough timestamps later on, and this way allow for an easier access to the topics later on. Okay, maybe I do a little bit of a collection of highlights of the stream as well, because since this is my main streaming channel now, why not? Then I get that. And yeah, I must say, I thank you a lot for joining the stream today. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely announce in a separate video when the next one is gonna happen on this channel. So stay tuned here. Share it with an interesting colleague, a friend, whatever, if you find the topics interesting. And tune up next time. I think it's gonna be probably the next Sunday, or maybe somewhere during the next week or something. Let's see how it goes with the new project as well. How much time we will have. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon in the next one, guys. Have a nice evening. Keep crushing. Stay healthy.